Man, I can't believe I had just enough money to buy all the YooHoo from the store. That is awesome. Ah! Kevin, emergency. Whoa, doppelganger alert. I'm not a doppelganger, you procrastinating fool. I'm you from the future. Oh. Okay. Kevin, today is Krista's birthday. Okay. Wife? Birthday? You need to get her a present, you jackass! Oh shit! I spent all of my money on YooHoo! I didn't go far enough back in time, okay? I'm gonna have to recalculate and, well, at least tell me how long this fridge full of YooHoo is gonna last me. 2.5 days. With Krista not talking to me, nobody was there to tell me to stop drinking it, and the sugar high was so amazing that I didn't even notice she wasn't talking to me until I crashed. That sounds magical. It was. Damn it, I can't deny you the sugar high of your adult life. What are we gonna do? I have all this scrap wood. Maybe we could just build her something. Good thinking. What time is it? 1400 hours. Shit, she's coming home early today. Do you still have all the scrap wood in the future? Yeah, I have most of it. Why? Well, why don't you go back to the future, make her the present, and then bring it back here before she comes home? That's brilliant! All right. I have mastered the art of procrastination. I am the master of avoiding deadlines.
Maker's Log, Stardate 6. Knowing I had time travel at my disposal, I decided to relax with Porthos instead of working on Krista's present. I'll do it tomorrow. Maker's Log, Stardate 26. Knowing I had time travel at my disposal, I've managed to become an even worse procrastinator than I already was. However, after 20 days of drinking YooHoo, it appears that the local stores are finally sold out. I've managed to find strawberry chocolate YooHoo at a nearby trading post. It was good at first, but it's just not as chug-worthy as the original. I'll have to find some way of disposing of it. But first, I decided to work on Krista's gift. I decided to make her a wood combadge from Star Trek The Next Generation. I'm using oak for the oval piece and mounting it under the silver Starfleet logo, which I'm going to make out of pine. The rationale here is that the oak should be slightly darker than the pine, which will make the Starfleet logo stand out just like the silver logo stood out on the gold oval of the actual combadges. After taping the pattern to the wood, I used the scroll saw to cut it out. This didn't go quite as smoothly as I had hoped. I mean, cutting hardwood on this thing is never as easy as I hope it would be. But I'll get the rough edges out on the disc sander later on. I then did the same thing for the Starfleet logo, this time making sure to retape an area after cutting off an edge. The outside edges might have been easier with the bandsaw, but the inside curve would have been a real pain with one of those. Besides, I don't have one. After cutting up the pieces, I took them over to my combination belt and disc sander. The disc sander took care of the outside edges, but because I don't have a spindle sander, I had to rely on the bend on my belt sander to take care of the inside of the Starfleet logo. It worked out quite well. I then sanded everything down with 80 and 120 grit sandpaper using my detail sander, because I don't have a random orbit sander. Don't judge me! I decided this would look sharp with rounded edges. To do this, I used my Hitachi router and my Bosch router table. Even though I'm not a fan of this router table, it works well enough for now. Maybe someday I'll go back in time and build my own instead of buying this one. I used a 1/2 inch round over bit on the oval piece on the bottom. Then I changed out the bit to a 1/4 inch roundover bit for the logo. This makes the logo look sharper than the oval, but still finished. When this step was done, I could finally start to see what this would look like when it was finished. But first, there's a lot more sanding to do. I sanded up to a 220 grit sandpaper before wiping both pieces down with mineral spirits to check for imperfections. Well, it might have been acetone. I'm not really sure. It might have been carbamide for all I remember. Anyway, it's not really that important. I decided to use shellac on these since it would be used indoors and was a safe finish with no VOCs. I used an amber tinted shellac on the oval and a clear shellac spray on the logo. After applying the first coat, I sanded it down with a 220 grit sandpaper and then a 400 grit sandpaper. I then applied a second coat, again hitting it with 400 grit sandpaper when it was done, giving it an incredible sheen and silky smooth feel. All that was left was taking a few artsy pictures of this thing, and with the impractical photos out of the way, it was time to send this thing back in time to myself, to give to my wife for her birthday. Hopefully, she doesn't watch this video and realize I forgot it. I decided to send other tidings from this time to the past. Although this does jeopardize the time-space continuum, this late in the video hardly seems like the time to start worrying about such things.
Man, I can't get enough of these things. Whoa! It's incredible! Ooh. What does it say? These chocolate strawberry YooHoos are coming to Walmart in a few days. Don't forget to give Krista the wood combadge from Star Trek The Next Generation. I won't forget to do that. And the second YooHoo. Sincerely yourself. Huh. This is pretty cool. P.S. Star Trek Discovery still sucks. You could write better Star Trek than this. Huh. Kevin, emergency. Whoa. Doppelganger alert. You idiot. I'm not a doppelganger. I'm you from the future again. Well, do you have any more of those chocolate strawberry YooHoos? No. Dude, you forgot your mom's birthday present. Uh-oh.